So I am that person in the family that is taken on the responsibility for genealogy. And I started this process of looking into the background, mostly of our side of the family, going back to the early 1700s, as far as I could go. But I did start finding information out about the origin of our family, which was in the Alsace-Lorraine area in France and Germany. The border kept changing on the Rhine River for a long time. But they came over here in the mid 1850s, landed in Philadelphia, as many of them did, and then traversed across the country until they came to the Miami Valley community there in around the Trenton area. And my family name originally was Koenig, before they changed it to King, anglicized it to King when they got here. Christian Koenig had land in Butler County, very close to the Augsburger farm, and we traced that to through several mediums before we determined that was actually the place where the Augsburger family had established the first Mennonite community there. My ancestors were there for about 15 years. As I learned in 1858, they made the trek to central Illinois, which is where I grew up. We stayed there and continued in the farming tradition through my father, who was then, at the time that he became an adult, decided to go out into the business world and leave the farm to his sister, which had since been in the family now for forever. So again, all of the history that leads up to our family in Illinois really started in Butler County. So when I was doing research, I came across Doris's name as someone that was said to be the most knowledgeable person about genealogy in Butler County. And so I actually drove out there to meet with her from Chicago one day, and really began to understand the significance of what was happening at the Farmstead at that time. The Cincinnati Gas and Electric Company had actually purchased the farmland, including the farmstead around that area, and to build and put up a power plant, which they had done by the time that I had started this research. So Doris wanted to maintain the farmstead, even though CG&E had owned the land. And she did know someone at the power plant there who actually had the same concerns and had actually been taking care of the property, knowing that this farmstead had some historical significance. And so Doris and I cooked up this plan to meet with the Metro Parks, with Mike Muska at the time, to work with them on an idea that would be for us to work with the power company to preserve the land, of which the Metro Parks, park districts, would be involved. And this really set everything into motion. The next step was actually to pull together a group of people right there in Trenton to be able to create and advocate for the retention of this farmstead and the land around it. And that was the idea that evolved, was to create what became known as the Friends of Chrisholm. The Cincinnati Gas and Electric Company was very supportive. Metro Parks was very supportive. And we had a number of volunteer leaders, including Doris, who had stepped up to really make all of this happen. The Trenton Historical Society, the Antique Farm Equipment Association. So it was a very much a collaborative effort. It was a way for I think the community to embrace the fact that there is a special historically significant place that would have implications for preserving the Amish Mennonite history through the Augsburger farm. This is a area that can be proud of the fact that this settlement actually shaped the economy of that area. So as far as my own background and how that led to this, I actually got to this through a circuitous route, and that was I started in social work and worked in that field for a long time. It was in 1985 that I had an opportunity to buy a company that actually provided services to nonprofit organizations around the country. That gave me the opportunity to travel the country as well as the world, and to be able to really understand how local nonprofits worked and how they could be enhanced. So when I found out this opportunity to save Chrisholm, that everything came naturally. I knew how to start a nonprofit. I knew what resources it took, not only dollar-wise, but volunteer-wise, and just got into motion and started pulling it all together and pulling it and pushing it forward. So that was that from a standpoint of how it started was the easy part for me. The harder part was obviously building the reputation and programs of Chrisholm that you see today. The best thing that's happened since we established this is the growth and interest that it has created, not only locally but regionally and beyond that. It's grown in the way it tells the story about the Amish Mennonite settlement in Butler County, giving credit to those who created all the events and the ideas that came forward to both promote and protect and preserve this land. So they're 25 years old now, and over that span of time, which seems to have gone by in a blur, a lot of things have been added to the program. I think the one thing that stands out most, besides the fact that all of the properties have been restored and some of the amenities that have been added are great, but the real, and I think the biggest and the real significant impact that this has had, I think, is the way the community has continued to enhance its ability to understand the Amish Mennonite story in Butler County and to keep that alive over the next generations.
I just got interested in it. I don't know how Marie and I decided to go ahead and write a book about it. And that's what started this whole thing, really.
That's right. That's right. Because you preserved the history. And if you hadn't done that, no one else would have gotten interested.
No, probably not.
And you grew up with some of the people, didn't you?
Oh, yes. I knew them all. I am not in this alone. All of these people have helped.
Yes.
And been part of it.
Yes.
You can't do anything by yourself. I need help.
Mm-hmm.
Backup.
Do you remember Rick King?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. He was my backup. Oh, definitely. I would have gotten nowhere without him.
Did you get him interested?
I think he had got me interested.